Hello, my friends, to my audience who still struggle with stuttering. Um, I'm walking in this beautiful creek park, and I was just thinking it's been a long time that I was not on this channel, but I want to help, and I want to share some thoughts that I have. And look, as I was just walking and thinking about it's been 25 years, let's call it approximately. It's been 25 years that I got rid of stuttering, and now when I go back and if I would give a single advice or a speech to help people with this problem, I will say it this way. So look, as you walk on a similar sidewalk there, and you want to finish the speech, and you start stuttering, you block, right? So you started speaking and then you stop. So what happens? But as you go on the path, on the sidewalk, and there is a grass, there is lawn, there is playground, there is other little passages, and that's when you start blocking. It's just you stop and you try to take another route. You try to go off the sidewalk. You try to come up with another word to switch. You try to maybe stutter more just to get through, and all other techniques that you might have. But the thing is, we want to finish. And we want to finish that, getting to our destination. We want to finish to go on that sidewalk and finish the sentence, finish walking. And I remember myself when I got rid of it. It was only that 1 minute. And from that one single minute, I understood how to handle the problem. It was such a long time where I was figuring it out in my mind, how to do it, tried everything possible, enormous attempts. And 1 minute that changed everything, but I was close. I was always thinking about it. And then 1 minute it took me to get rid of it, not just overcome the problem temporarily, but completely remove it. It's not the smooth removal, not like that 1 minute and it was gone, but that 1 minute was critical for me, and I remember that little single minute. And actually, because of this successful concept, I refer to this particular concept many times in my life to draw some similarities. And so in that my first video, the very first one, how to get rid of stuttering in 2-3 weeks, right? So it took me two weeks to really work on it, with already a successful concept, and then one more week where I adjusted it after I figured out that there is this relaxation phase where you come home or when you see a friend, a familiar face, and you relax and you start it again. So that took me another week to adjust it and get rid of it. So what I wanted to say, that what matters the most now, and this is critical probably, as I figured out that when we speak, we start with 95% of air capacity in our air lungs, just to have some comparison, and not with 100 or 110%. That is probably the main issue. And when we start stuttering, I think we have a body natural protection to have our lungs or our body get more air inside of the system, so the organs stay alive and you can breathe again and you can perform your life activities. And that's what's causing it. Another thing that's causing it is that moment where something went off, where I think it's just being scared, or like some nervous break, or something that got us scared, so we stopped breathing normally. And those are the two things I think that are very important. So when you start speaking, I think the main thing to start moving you in the right direction is that air capacity, right? When you speak, so start with a little bit more air. But then what I figured out was that 1 minute where I understood, and when I took a risk, right? Because I wanted to have something, or to try something to stop stuttering. And I decided to risk. I decided to try it for the first time ever. And for myself, I decided not to stutter whatsoever. So this critical point to make a decision, actually make a decision to stop stuttering. Before I probably stopped, I organized for myself what stuttering is. And I decided, just no doctors, no speech therapists, my observation only, I decided for myself what stuttering was. And I decided that the stuttering was repeating sounds. And those repeating sounds are the stuttering for me. And I decided to stop stuttering. So I decided to stop repeating sounds. And I think that was the breakthrough. And once I decided what the stuttering was, I started to think about what I would do to prevent it. And I said to myself, so if I don't want to stutter, but I really want to stutter, right? Because this is how I used to speak. I decided to not say the same sound again. Do whatever I would, do whatever I want, do whatever it requires, but not repeat the same sound. And I decided for myself that if I will not repeat the next sound, if I would not repeat the same sound, what would I do next? I decided to say the next sound. It was not easy, but this is the mental process, or my mental thinking, that I thought out that this would be my process. And what did I want to do? What do I want to do next? And next I decided, okay, so when I stop, if I'm going to stutter, if I'm going to repeat the next sound, or the same sound, the same sound. So in order not to repeat, what should I be doing? I decided, so there should be a gap. And that gap I was faking before. I was pausing. I was maybe thinking of changing the word, switching the similar word, and that changes the meaning of your thought, of your sentence. And I decided that I needed to do something in between, right? So because for my system was stop, inhale, continue with the next sound, the 3 steps. You can probably skip the inhaling in between the first and the third step. If it's good enough for you, maybe you had already more air in your lungs, or you tried to breathe in before you spoke, and maybe you don't need it anymore. Maybe you still have the capacity, but you just like continuing speaking with your former habit, with the way you always speak. You stutter. So, and in order for me to bridge that gap, I decided, okay, I might as well inhale, because I also decided that I have not enough air for me to finish the sentence. So I thought, okay, that would be a good natural step. And when I speak right now, you can see that I breathe in more, because I guess after I repaired my broken breathing habit, now my body says, like, look, you are not having the problem, you might as well have more air. And now I stop, I breathe in without thinking about it. Now it's back in me. But before I started doing it, I had to practice. I had to mechanically or physically adjust my breathing habit, or breathing when I speak, because there is a breathing when you don't speak, and there is a breathing when you speak. So I adjusted that, and now it comes naturally. So that's probably the most important system for me, and that made the change, where I made the shift and switched to speaking normally. After that, once, let's say, we finish with this problem, after that I dealt with another problem, and that was the very long time of not being confident. I had to deal with confidence, and that took me another many years, and I will say maybe even 10 plus years. But 3 years that I spent figuring out, actually through breathing again, how to handle it. But that's the next stage. So hopefully this helps, and I think that 1 minute when you understood what actually was the key to speaking, that is important, I think. So have a good day.